I didn't cry out when the boiling coffee splashed against my skin. I just sat there, burning quietly, eyes fixed on the man I once trusted with my whole life. "She'll be here later," he barked, slamming his mug down so hard the table rattled. "Give her your things or get out." His sister again. Always his sister. Without another glance, he stormed out to work, the front door slamming shut behind him. Silence filled the house. Only then did I wipe the coffee from my cheek, stand, and finally let my lungs take in air. He thought he'd broken me. What he didn't know was that I had been preparing for this very moment. I first met him 7 years earlier, of all places, in a bookstore. We both reached for the same novel. He smiled, almost boyishly, and offered to let me take it. Back then, he seemed gentle, thoughtful, attentive, the kind of man who remembered small details and made you feel noticed. I mistook that attention for love. In those early days, he never shouted, never demanded. He promised safety, partnership, forever. I believed him. But the change came slowly. It started with his sister. At first, she borrowed little things of mine that never returned. A necklace I loved, a jacket that disappeared from my closet. When I confronted him, he brushed it off with a laugh. "She's family," he said. But her visits became more frequent. Her eyes wandered greedily around my belongings, her demands sharper each time. The day I opened a credit card statement filled with purchases I hadn't made, I realized it wasn't just her. He wasn't simply allowing it. He was handing over my life to her, piece by piece. That morning, when he threw coffee at me, it was the final confirmation. He didn't see me as his wife anymore. To him, I was just an object, a resource, something to be drained. I never confronted him. I smiled. I played the part. And in silence, I built my way out. It started small. Quiet withdrawals from our joint account, funneled into one only I controlled. Important papers, our marriage certificate, property deeds, bank records, scanned and sent straight to my lawyer. Every week, I packed a box of my belongings and stored it in a friend's attic. He never noticed. He never asked. He was too busy planning his sister's next spree with my money. By the time that mug hit my face, I was ready. The second his car disappeared down the street, I called the movers. Within 2 hours, everything that was mine, every chair, every plate, every piece of furniture I had paid for, was gone. I left behind only the worthless, mismatched items he had brought into the marriage. Then I called my lawyer. By evening, the locks were changed. The house was no longer in his name. The bank accounts were frozen. I didn't wait around to see his reaction. But I imagined it vividly, him walking in with his sister, ready to strip the house bare, only to find stripped walls instead. And waiting in the living room, not me, but my lawyer. Calm, professional, holding firm. "This property is no longer accessible to you," he told them. "Ownership has been transferred. You'll need to leave immediately." I pictured the blood draining from his face, his sister's outrage collapsing into panic. He thought I had no power. But every form, every signature, every transfer was airtight, legal, and final. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't messy. It was absolute. I didn't need to see him crumble. I had already endured enough of his cruelty. What mattered was this. He came home expecting me broken, ready to hand everything over to his sister. Instead, he found himself stripped of the very ground he stood on. And me. I was already gone. My new apartment smelled of fresh paint and freedom. My skin still stung, but under the bruise something stronger was taking root. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was the one who ended the game. Sometimes I think back to that bookstore where it all began. If only I'd let go of that novel and walked away. But maybe I needed this lesson, to learn that betrayal doesn't destroy you unless you let it. He thought he could burn me into submission. Instead, he lit the fire that set me free. That's how my marriage ended. Not with tears or compromise, but with silence, strategy, and a door he no longer had the key to.